This is a HeadGum podcast.
This week on the program, it's a movie with the protagonist so rotten it makes you root for Jeffrey Jones. It's The Pest. I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Chris Cabin.
And we hate movies.
Fucking piece of shit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Hate Movies. Thank you for tuning in. As always, that's right. We are kicking off the 2021 Listener Request Month with a real rotten piece of cinema. It's The Pest from 1997, directed by Paul Miller. You may be familiar with his work if you've ever watched the Country Music Award broadcasts on television.
This is my working theory is Paul Miller's a ghost. A real person couldn't have directed this. This was corporeal form direction.
Well, he also worked on Mad TV, so I definitely see some of those elements here, maybe.
Yeah,
I buy that because I don't believe that real people direct award shows. You know what I mean? I feel like it's either ghosts or possibly people in the witness protection program.
Or artificial intelligence.
They're not physical manifestations. They're like you could put your hand through them.
I think if you are any member that is named in the hit song Monster Mash, you are allowed to direct an award show. Do you ever see those things where it's like a real sort of Inception-y type thing where like a like some dude who directed like the Oscars will win an Emmy because he directed the Oscars?
Yeah.
That's all fake. We don't need an award for that shit. We really do not. We do not need to spend the time on it.
And also all those like, and now let's go see everybody in the booth. That's Pixar. Pixar puts that together. It's all computers. It's fake. It's totally fake.
Oh, you know what I wish was fake? This fucking movie. How about that? I
you know what? I'm not going to give in that it isn't fake. Like I barely remember this fucking thing. It's just like a force of malevolence that was visited upon me at some point yesterday.
It's like an alien abduction, right, Chris? It's just like it takes you. You know you experience something bad, but you don't quite know what.
And you end up smelling like a bog at the end of it, too.
Absolutely, 100% on that one.
I would rather have some sort of probe jammed in one of my holes than watch this ever again. And I should say, I watched it last night for the first time. I'd never seen it, but I like the poster for this, like the VHS cover for this. I remember just like proudly passing by this movie in the video store, just like a absolutely not thanks, but no thanks.
I was like just nonstop saw this trailer, and I was just like, "There's no way. I'm just not going to do this."
You never saw it, Chris?
I never saw it before. This was my first time. First time.
Steve, is this your first time?
It is, and I believe listeners can agree that are so inclined. I believe there's a substantial comic book advertisement, like the back ad of a comic book of The Pest. I remember, like, I think I have comic books in my house that have John Leguizamo and the stupid sunglasses.
You gotta fucking burn those, dude. That's bad juju, man. You just moved into a new place. You gotta get that stuff out of there. You gotta get it out of there immediately.
I can't believe I'm the only one that has seen this before. I saw this as a kid. It was probably on HBO or, one of the movie networks or something.
It seems like something that was like a bargain bin HBO acquisition.
It kind of makes sense in idiot producer brain. Like, John Leguizamo is best known for doing one-man shows. He won an Obie, won 2 drama desks. That doesn't mean anything necessarily. Plenty of bad stuff has won Obies and drama desks. But, like, he's a big name for doing this stuff. Let's just have him do his thing in a movie plus Ace Ventura-esque stuff.
Yes. I think Jim Carrey is definitely an influence here. And I guess Carrey at the time was probably moving over to the cable guy, doing some at least more interesting work. And John Leguizamo was there trying to get that scrap.
We should say this is the first week of listener request month, because we would never do this without being forced.
No. And Steve, thanks for pointing that out again, because the people who requested this, what did we ever do to you?
This is up there. I mean, this year especially, between this and Warriors of Virtue, big ones are coming off the board. The biggest one that didn't get picked out of the hat was Fear, which we have to do this year. I think we really need to find.
Yeah, just get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But
sorry, bro. I have to stalk your daughter.
Well, that'll be perfect for like Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, there you go. So before we get going here, let's listen to one of the several requests for this film from someone who clearly hates our rotten guts.
Hi, this is Sarah from New Jersey, and I was calling to recommend 1997's The Pest, which features John Leguizamo and Jeffrey Jones, and it's pretty much the dregs of humanity, and it made me very sad to watch it, but it would make me happy if you guys talked about it, so I would really appreciate it. Farewell, and good luck.
Farewell indeed, man. You should say that to someone. I felt like I was in a ship that was just about to sail off the edge of the world watching this movie.
Ma'am, I clearly do not have good luck. This got chosen. Where do you think I'm at here?
I paused this movie halfway through, and Mark Rylance took me by the hand and brought me on the ship and said, "We're going back to watch it."
There's no going back now, Eric.
Oh, we have to go back to the TriStar logo and start it all over again.
Dude, I wish I fucking got killed on a boat whilst watching this film.
Absolutely. Better day.
Not bad.
I think I dodged this movie kind of like a bullet. I was not a John Leguizamo head, but I had a lot of, and still do have a lot of goodwill towards John Leguizamo, and I don't know why that is. I think he's a talented guy.
Yeah. I think
he's a talented guy.
He's a good actor. I think
charismatic, and his later period has been pretty decent. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's really good in Romeo plus Juliet.
Yes,
he's a really good Tybalt, and this was kind of the last gasp of him doing full on comedy.
Yeah,
because House of Buggin' got canceled. He got a divorce. This thing comes out. They make sure it's out of theaters within a week.
Wait a second. So he does House of Buggin', which was him doing sketch comedy.
Yes. Me and Chris watched that show, not together, but me and Chris maybe the only two. Yes. I remember a single joke from House of Buggin'.
Oh,
would you like to hear it?
Oh, of course,
absolutely.
And I think about this joke quite often. You know what? You're so stupid. You need to pull your pants down to count to 11. And I think I used that in grade school. I think that was something.
The dick is a digit.
Dick is the 11th digit in this scenario.
Dick.
One thing about House of Buggin', it does, I think, have the first instance of a movie podcast in it. There is one of the recurring bits they would do is a bunch of guys. It was Luis Guzman, John Leguizamo, and Michael Bolton from Office Space.
Yes.
Dave Herman.
David Herman, yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And they would just talk during a movie. They're in the audience of a movie and they're talking during a movie. And they're like, so who do you think, do you think Freddy or Jason would kill each other? Actually, I think Freddy would kill Jason. Nah, Jason would kill Freddy. Are you kidding me? Oh, but what about Alien versus Predator? Predator's got him. No. Alien's going to burst out of the chest. Come on.
Yeah, it's real shocking this was canceled almost immediately.
and this week's episode is brought to you by Casper.
They taught us everything we know.
I was gonna say, did they presage all movies? What about a Green Book? What do you think about that?
Pizza? Come on, get out of here.
No, wait a second though, because I have a very important question for Chris. Chris, you said he does House of Buggin', and then what happened?
I think he gets a divorce.
So okay, what fucking True Hollywood Story John Leguizamo did you watch that there's divorce information in your head now?
It's literally just on his IMDb page.
He's advertising his divorce.
Oh, is that a project? An upcoming project?
Yes.
Divorce pending is the idea.
I mean, it just seems weird to me that he makes this this is the last thing that happens, and then it's almost all mostly dramatic roles after this.
Well, I kind of agree with you, Chris, because it's weird. I would have guessed if you told me hey man, and even when I watch this movie, what year did this come out? I would have said like 94, 95.
I would have guessed earlier. 1997 felt so late.
Because
Yes,
that's because he was a younger guy, like, you know what I mean, around Mario Brothers. It kind of makes sense, like, like we said, this guy's got this like one man show. It's really something. Let's just make a movie that celebrates whatever that is.
Well,
that makes sense, but he's a known quantity at this point. It makes no sense to do this wretched movie.
Well, because and the way they put it out, like Universal was gonna put it out, they kick it down to a subsidiary, then they have to make a deal with TriStar to fund a month-long shoot, a 3-day writing period. Like
that seems a bit much. I refuse to believe that someone actually spent 3 days on the screenplay for this movie. We should note the same year that this trash came out.
Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
He's way funnier as Clown in Spawn the same year.
It's a better movie, honestly.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's, you got Michael Jai White, Martin Sheen. I would kill for Martin Sheen in this film.
Yeah, I don't think Martin Sheen would be killing to be in this movie.
I would kill for D.B. Cooper. I know it sounds weird to say, but I think D.B. Cooper would really have perked me up here.
D.B. Sweeney you're talking about, not the famed missing bank robber.
I would kill for D.B. Cooper to get some of that money he absconded with.
Okay, back in the day, I would have killed for D.B. Cooper for a price.
D.B. Cooper. And Saturday Night Live, and here's your host, D.B. Cooper.
Hey, man, it's so great to be on SNL. Really happy. Lauren, thank you so much. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I twisted my ankle jumping out that plane.
Most SNL guests or guest hosts, rather, are criminals. So.
Hey, arguably funnier movie than this that he did 2 years later, Summer of Sam.
Yeah, I like Summer of Sam.
So this is, he stars as the titular Pest, and it is just sort of like, and I think whenever like you run out of ideas for like, I want to do something with a comedian that's kind of fun and give him a lot of room to like riff, he's a con artist. It's just like, I don't know, he's a con artist, a vague con artist.
You're totally right, because that affords you the opportunity for him to do different disguises, different characters, and so on. And in this movie, what that turns into is some of the most dated garbage race comedy I've ever seen. And I have to believe that we're good enough as a human being society that the shit in this movie is why nobody remembers it anymore.
Well, as the Joker will say, we live in a society.
But what is the point of even making him a con artist in this? I feel like you just make him a kid that's living with his parents, that doesn't have his life together. That's pretty much what he is. We never see him actually really do much conning, do we? He has a job at the Chinese restaurant delivering food that I guess is a con because he's not who he says he is.
He's evading consequences for his cons. Is most of this movie. The cons have already happened. All the good stuff already happened.
You're right, because at the beginning, it's 4 minutes of him singing in the shower about what a scammer he is, and you don't see it. Like the one thing he does is like the worst 3-card Monty riff ever. But that's it.
Terrible. Yeah, right, yeah. He's conning people because he's pretending that he's blind and doing a like. Is it 3-card Monty? Because he's got like coconut cups or some shit.
I think it is 3-card. I think at least he says it is.
Oh, I thought it was one of those like, guess which coconut half the ball is under or something.
One of his friends also built the machine to do the card game.
Sure.
It's it's absolute anarchy. This whole fucking movie.
We got to talk about the shower scene a little more.
Of course, dude.
This is just like Ernest P. Worrell type of shit.
Oh my God, I didn't even connect that, but you're totally right. That's exactly what this is. It's John Leguizamo doing Ernest.
Yes, and we get to see all those great characters such as Gangster, Dracula, Asian.
Yep.
And just repeat that.
Yeah, over and over again. And he's you know what? I took a screenshot and I forwarded it to you guys. He's singing in a pissy shower. There is some yellow water at his feet because they keep cutting down to his feet. I don't know if that's a joke or somebody actually accidentally pissed. I'm unclear.
I think it's a joke.
He's brewing up some dick beer, folks.
Also,
he absolutely is.
I think he supplied the dick beer, but I think that's supposed to be a joke most of all.
No, I think they were just taking forever to film this scene, and he was just pissing in the shower.
Maybe it was a
Okay,
little
I'm
cold.
just gonna do it.
It was a little cold on set. You know what I mean? Like your feet get a little cold, you pee on them.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to warm up my toes. I'm going to piss all over my feet. Leguizamo.
Dude, it is so much, and it's always like when you give a movie a theme song like this, it's like you're writing a check you can't cash because
Absolutely.
it's like, here I am and here I go. I'm gonna make you laugh and I'm gonna make you go. And
And
it's
it
like, dude,
sucks too
fuck you.
because like it's clearly like a Rapper's Delight parody, and like
Sure.
I just wish I was dead. It's so terrible, and like it's also it does serve as like a primer for like, here's all the wacky hilarious stuff you're gonna see in this movie. Am I gonna be a Dracula? Am I gonna pretend to be a Chinese guy? Watch and find out.
I wish you would do more Dracula stuff, honestly. I mean,
Sure,
Yes,
yeah.
going back to the Asian well he goes to so many times, and I guess that must come from like his like one-man show stuff. Like, you know, growing up in New York, you'd always
Yes.
find Asian people who would sound a little something like this.
This whole movie is predicated on, I think, insert ethnicity would sound a little something like this. It's the whole movie, and it's not just him doing it. Jeffrey Jones is doing a rancid job with this German accent. Holy Toledo.
It's awful all around.
Well, here's the thing: is when you write this movie, and it's like, oh, it'll be funny, it'll be a German guy, and like you offer it to whomever you offer it to, and you get Jeffrey Jones 5 calls later. It's like, you know what, dude? Let's just call him a fucking businessman and give
Yes.
Jeffrey some room to maneuver. Because Jeffrey Jones, pre-Troubles, funny guy, right? Like a guy that could, especially like a straight man who's running afoul of the pest. I could see that working.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. But what doesn't make sense is how this character that Leguizamo was playing here even lived long enough to encounter Jeffrey Jones, because it's shocking that, because clearly this is every day. It's every day with this asshole screaming in the shower, bothering this family. It's crazy to me that they haven't murdered him.
And why even make like the most dangerous game type of thing? Why not just have Jeffrey Jones be American, like you said, and he was a guy that got conned or something. Like there's
Exactly.
some motivation there.
Totally, just a revenge thing. Yes.
Well, the most
the
dangerous
fact
game-
that this is most dangerous game is it's so dumb.
Well, because it peters out almost immediately. Like they get off the
Yes.
island. I'm like, wait, so it's still going on? Like, you know
I couldn't
what I mean?
believe
Like,
it. It was like the end of the Lost World Jurassic Park. They went back to civilization.
And we would have
a T-Rex. I think it sounds like an Asian guy.
What are you saying, Cabin?
and it might not have allowed for so many what I'm going to call for now problematic scenes that happen on the layer of the most dangerous game stuff. Set it here, maybe we don't have that much of that stuff.
Perhaps. Yeah. I mean, that's the weird thing too, right? Is like, you know, when we did what was that great Ice-T movie there, Surviving the Game?
Yes.
Yes.
That at least they're like, okay, we're just gonna like huff it up to like Northern California or something like that, find a ranch. This movie is like, no, we're sticking to the source material. We have to go to a random island for some reason.
Which we don't even spend the rest of the movie in.
No. It's
I
like
would-
maybe 20 minutes.
I would wager I would venture that the best scenes of this movie, that's a lowercase b and it's also italicized. The best scenes of this movie are Leguizamo, Aries, Spears, and Freddy Rodriguez kind of fucking around as like a couple of ne'er-do-wells doing whatever. Like that.
because then it becomes what I feel this movie is worse than, but feels exactly the same to watch, which is the Jerky Boys movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Very
Like
similar.
if it's just the three of them like running pranks or whatever, and like there's any kind of reason for them to do things, then it's almost a movie.
Here's what it is. You can just use the most garbage boilerplate like 80s 90s comedy plot, right? So like they're three con artists, but of course in these kinds of movies, right, they're also like good guys, you know, Leguizamo's like a known figure helping the community, shit like that, right? So they're those guys, and then Jeffrey Jones is like some motherfucker that's going to come in and he's going to bulldoze the community center, and they come up with the great prank, scam, con, whatever to screw him over and save the community center and bring peace to the neighborhood, and that's the movie.
Yeah. Keep it
There it is.
Make it specific to the neighborhood where they live.
No, it's gross out times. We need gross outs. Everything needs to be gross and disgusting and kind of gross.
Like when you're sitting in the shower, you pee on your feet, and then you go downstairs and
farting.
And you almost make out with your mother, and you
Dude,
go,
what is with that dancing? And that was when I was like, this is every day. This is every day with this guy. Like, he's grabbing his mother, dragging her out onto the dance floor, and like the rest of the family is like, that's our pest.
They've kind of resigned themselves to hell, it seems like.
I'd move out, man. I don't care if I'm sleeping in a dumpster. I would not be able to stand this guy. No way.
The one sibling does seem like she's on the edge there.
I'm on the edge with the pest.
Thank God this movie's 85 minutes, because what?
Dude, it's like it was a grueling 85, man. I thankfully was able to watch it in one sitting because I put it on after Chelsea went to bed. I did her that kindness, but like, goddamn, this just go and go and go.
I'll tell you, you guys think I could pull off this Pest shirt? This the comic book stuff on it? I kind of like it. No.
I think that's when we finally get to tour in the year 2025. I think you should wear that on the first opening day.
It'll be a new segment of the live act that we'll call "Throw Tomatoes at Steve."
What we were speaking about best scenes. I think one of the best scenes is, in terms of acting alone, Jeffrey Jones, prowling the streets of Florida for a young boy. I mean, is that
dude? It's kind of the worst thing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, he's literally driving around in a car with a dude who looks exactly like him, which is hilarious. And they're just looking for young meat.
Did he know the camera was on?
Now you just gotta set up a photography studio, and
it's actually kind of surprising that it's not the Jeffrey Jones character, but the Leguizamo character, who's allowed to, like, there's a scene where he's going into a playground and like playing basketball with kids, and I was like screaming at the TV, don't let that guy anywhere near a playground.
Yeah, that would be a real mistake for you parents out there if you see someone like this, like the Pest. Keep them away from your children.
I mean, the name Pest, let alone, like, you just kind of are born with a restriction on how close you can be to schools. Like, it's like, my name is the Pest. It's like, dude, you can pest across the street.
Wait, so you were playing basketball with the guy who calls himself the Duke of Deception. I think you should probably not do that anymore, Justin. Okay.
Yeah, I will buy you one of those like movable basketball hoops, and we will put it in the driveway.
Better yet, I'm gonna buy you a knife.
Hey, mom, the Pest got me a PlayStation 1. Pardon me? Who? My buddy, the Pest. Oh, okay. Is this a kid in your class? No. It's like, okay.
He's a 35-year-old man. So one of the like threads of this movie is that he also owes $50,000 to the Get Ready to Laugh America Scottish Mafia.
It's almost a funny joke, but they hang a hat on it every time they talk about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Scottish Mafia. Like, oh, okay, I get it. Like,
they hang a whole haberdashery on it, man. It ain't just one hat.
That's what I mean.
They beat this joke to death.
Because it's just, it would be sort of like, if they never called attention that it's weird, it's kind of funny. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, the Scottish Mafia, these guys in kilts, da-da-da-da-da. But it's just like, well, why aren't, because I feel like every time they talk about it, somebody's like, well, why aren't they Italian Mafia? And it's like, well, that's the joke. I don't know. Like, then it wouldn't be a comedy. Okay, then the movie continues.
But
got it. Wrote this in 3 days. Got it.
But they're Scottish and they do crime? What?
The joke has to always have a joke on top of it. Like, not only do they wear kilts, their guns have like plaid on the handle.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. That sucks.
There's attention to detail in this movie. It's just bad.
I like seeing the guy from The Thing as the head Scottish mafioso. That's nice. But also, the rest of this is terrible. I hate this style of joke telling where it's not even one style he's going after. It's just like open the floodgates and try every kind of joke there is.
Yeah.
That's why it's like the Jerky Boys movie. It's like whatever we can think of and throw at the wall, The only thing that this movie is missing is prank phone calls.
Mm-hmm. Because and you're right. It strikes me as somebody who, and that's the weirdest part, is because John Leguizamo, like, he'd done movies, like a ton of movies. He was, acclaimed in Carlito's Way at this point, all this stuff, and it's like,
Oh hell yeah!
because it's like, it's one of those things where it almost feels like you're taking somebody who's never done a movie before, and you're like, you know what, just make the movie other thing, and we'll see what happens. But again, like, this dude's an actor, like a real deal actor.
He's an actor that at this point is in enough shit on stage and screen where we know what he's capable of and what works. And like this, it's just a disaster.
So
I can't even, on some levels, guys, I feel like part of this is not real. Like, I feel like I'm in a simulation and we're talking about a fake movie.
I think it's just producer brain. They saw the one-man shows and they didn't see the compelling performer who's just magnetic on his own, like, just has energy that beams. They saw, oh, maybe they like the dumb jokes. Mm-hmm. Maybe if we just give him a lot of dumb jokes, that'll work. And then they did a show that didn't last, and then did this movie that got pulled from theaters after 5 days.
That's incredible. Whenever you see that, that is like grim financial despair.
Yeah,
I remember, like, I've been like working. The other side of my life is working in movie theaters and shit. Been doing it since 2000. Right. The only time that I'd ever seen that actually happen was I almost said, do you guys remember? But odds are you don't. There was a movie. I never saw it. It's Ben Chaplin and Nicole Kidman. I think it's called The Birthday Girl.
Oh yeah,
dude, that was a like 1 week and get the fuck out of this theater. And I'd never seen anything like it, because like the agreement is usually like at least 2 weeks, and this movie tanked so horribly. It was like, absolutely not.
This in from the internet ticker. Yes, it opened to the 12th place at the box office in over 1,200 theaters.
That's a situation where the house is burned down, the stable burned down. You're just trying to save the fucking pets.
Get those dogs out of there.
12th place is really something if you think about it.
I mean, like, 12th place in 1997 on 1,200 screens. Like, 1,200 screens, like, that's not, that's not nothing for 1997. That's a good amount of screens.
That is like probably like fully wide, probably.
I wonder.
In 1997, yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if I had seen it, like, because I remember kind of like being aware of it, like, oh, maybe I want to watch. I like John Leguizamo. Like, if maybe me and my buddy Rob at the time had gone, do you think it would have got 11th place? You think that was like the margin?
Yep. I think you guys could have put it right over, dude. Absolutely.
Well, you know what? These two fat kids came to see the movie. Let's keep it in for a full week.
You know what? All last week it was raining everywhere. One more week. Let's see what happens. Oh, you know what's a weird thing in this movie that's really uncomfortable? In that Jeffrey Jones like ride-along part, he's looking at people and you don't understand why he's doing it. And he's got these lines where he's like, these people are all so teeny. Oh, look at that specimen.
It's weird because it's him and this other guy who looks exactly like him, as we've said. They're like these two huge German eggs. It's a very bizarre, like the two, like they're humongous egg-shaped men.
I believe the assistant there is a member of No Ma'am from Married with Children.
That makes sense.
Oh, that would 110% track.
Pretty sure on that.
Let's
He's got a
see
Tom
if I can
Sizemore energy, is what I would give him.
Yes.
Tom Sizemore without the coke, though. That's even worse, kind of. Tom
Sizemore, way more funnier than this guy. His presence would have been welcomed.
Yes, absolutely.
Because at least then with Sizemore, he's good at doing like a villain, so he'd be like threatening in a way.
That's a problem. Is there's nothing at all remotely scary throughout this movie. The mafia threat, the German hunters. It's not real.
That's the problem.
Never tracks.
Is that we didn't know how menacing Jeffrey Jones was at the time.
Right.
Seeing it now, it truly does. It's a melding performance into this Nazi-esque guy. But like back then, you couldn't have known.
But what is this, like, the whole, like, this plot? It's just like this, oh yeah, of course, these baby boomer Nazis from Germany are in Miami hunting every race on the planet at a secret island
An island off of the shores of Miami. It doesn't seem to be
Yes,
that
Little St.
far
James.
away. Yes. Oh, Little St. James. There you go. Yeah. Him and Epstein bought it together.
I don't understand, like, but where's the money coming from? Like, I mean, I guess it's just old Nazi money.
I guess it's gold and arts and antiquity. I don't know.
Absolutely. It's just, he's able to spend his days hunting humans for sport due to the rape of Europa. You know what I mean? All the fucking art, the gold,
Just turn this into Inside Man, where John Leguizamo robs this old aging Nazi.
Wait, which bank did they hold up? That has all of my ethnic heads in there. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh, I bet that lockbox really smells.
And therein lies the rub.
Hey, confirming that dude was definitely a no, ma'am, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
So yeah,
we meet his crew, which is Aries Spears playing Chubby and Freddy Rodriguez, a very young Freddy Rodriguez, as Ninja. And then
Aries
there's
Spears was on Mad TV, Steve.
He was, yeah.
Okay. Because is he one of those dudes that's like he's definitely more of a stand-up or something, or has he been in other things?
I mean, I think his career has forced him to be more of a stand-up.
Got it.
I mean, I think he's a pretty funny guy. You know what I mean? But then there's he's got a girlfriend and his girlfriend's friend named Malaria. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I was laughing my tits off at that.
Mm-hmm.
Malaria.
Ooh,
Good
boy.
God.
I'm gonna drink more on this episode than usual.
That's fine, Eric.
I'm
Go
coasting, dude. We'll see what happens with this episode. Listener request month. You asked for it. This is what it is.
And he's dating a black woman, and she's like, "Oh," and I'm saying that because it's super important later in the movie. Because she's like, you're supposed to see my parents last night. Why won't you come meet my parents? And like the weirdest part is like when he goes to meet her parents, it's like, you're best friends with Aries Spears. You're dating a black woman. Why can't you just be like, oh, I could just talk to people like they're normal people? Why does he have to wear an afro to it?
Dude, he's wearing an afro. He's got like a dashiki on. He's wearing like a necklace with the continent of Africa as like the jewel piece. Like it is. He comes into the house yelling and screaming about Angela Davis. Like it is stunning. And the thing that sucks most about that scene, just caught in the middle of it all, is poor Joe Morton.
Oh my God, tremoring like a fucking Terminator is in his sight.
Dude, I would rather Arnold Schwarzenegger come into my house and rip off his skid suit in front of me than have the pest over for dinner.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you. If I saw John Leguizamo in a big afro wig come into my door trying to take my daughter out for a day, I'd start going like...
Yes, I would definitely drop my hand and set off the bomb.
Yeah, we got ahead of it, but I mean, like, but it doesn't like that to me exemplifies what's wrong with this movie. It's like, dude, you hang around with black people all the time. Why is this something you're doing? Shouldn't you be trying to impress your girlfriend's parents?
Because look, dude, we are like just barely crossing the threshold into a feature-length film here. You know what I mean? And it's like those detours, like stopping off at the girlfriend's house for dinner, is one of those things where it's like, okay, we have no story here. So if we add that in, it's like a full-on 10-minute detour that will up that runtime. Like it has no, like they wind up making it sort of consequential to the end of the movie, but you really could have done without it altogether.
It's also like the villain is into phony race science and the hero is into phony race science.
So I guess the only thing to come out of the 3-card Monty scene that really matters is this is when there's a misunderstanding because Jeffrey Jones is like, oh yeah, get me that hot specimen, human flesh, and he points to somebody like this like handsome like dude who's playing soccer, and his weird deformed clone thinks that he's pointing at Leguizamo. So
Yeah.
Leguizamo, like the pest is selected. We still don't know. I mean, it is for hunting humans for sport, but the movie doesn't tell you that just yet. We just know that Jeffrey Jones is hunting for a specimen for some reason, and the pest is selected.
Just be thankful, because originally those binoculars were trained on a KB Toys.
Look at all the specimens.
Oh, no, he must be talking about John Leguizamo. He must be talking about John Leguizamo.
Well, no. All right, we're done hunting for human sport. Now let's hunt for dinner.
It's just them in like a McDonald's drive-thru. So my next note here goes right in line with the chronology of this film, and I'll just read you guys the note verbatim here. It just says, "Holy fucking shit, this Chinese restaurant scene."
Yeah.
Anyone get the name of the restaurant? And anyone get the hilarious joke there?
That Wong Fu?
Yeah, because he was in Tu Wong Fu a couple years earlier. A much more appreciated film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many defeated sighs will I give in this episode? Try to count, listener.
Well-
See what we get.
I'll add another one for you. This Asian hair hat he wears.
Oh man! I mean, it is a thing where we are to believe that he has been working as a delivery guy for this Chinese restaurant, and the entire time he's been employed by them, he's been pretending to be Chinese.
And they're buying it, and he's doing gibberish, and then he'll throw in stuff like "Me So Horny," a reference to the Vietnam War film Full Metal Jacket. Totally.
or
totally
the
out
Two
of
Live
left
Crew
field.
song.
Yeah,
I mean, you just open the crank and let it go. Like, just fucking go, John. Riff. Go fucking nuts.
The idea that he would have to be Chinese to deliver Chinese food just goes against everything someone from a metropolitan area would understand. You know what I mean? Like, you don't like, it's not just like, well, look, the pizza guy is a big Italian guy with a big mustache. Like, here's your pizza, sir. Like, it's literally dudes from the neighborhood of any stripe.
But look at that! The 29 minutes. It's not the free. Pay up. I mean, so like the whole thing here is he's because of his like tomfoolery with the 3-card money, and he gets briefly detained by the Scottish mafia. Does not matter. He's late for
that
work.
didn't matter.
Well, like, kind of, I guess one of the little jokes about the movie is that he's so stupid, and yet he can even fool like everybody. Like, it's not about it's that he's fooling them. That's supposed to be the joke.
it's like he's Bugs Bunny, and even if him
Yes.
putting on something really brief and stupid, it still fools people, and we just are expected to go along with it. But it doesn't really work in a live-action feature film.
Yes.
No, yeah, live action cartoons rarely work.
But guys, briefly, I want to quickly, before we get out of the Chinese restaurant, the whole My Pet
Yes.
Duck ran away.
Oh, of course, Quacky, dude. I wasn't going anywhere. We got to talk about Quacky.
Thank you.
Jesus
Thank you.
Christ.
It's just, it's like Bugs Bunny logic, because people like have to like understand, like, if he gets sad, then they get sad next to him, kind of a thing. Like,
That's exactly right. Because his whole thing is the guy is like, all right, I'm sick and tired of you being late for your shift. Also, I'm now, for whatever reason, coming out of this fog and realizing you're not even Chinese and are wearing this fucking horrendously racist disguise. Not the most racist disguise in the film, though. We'll get to that one towards the end. But like, so the dude is like, you're fired. And the whole thing is it's just like, this is like the riff, John riff. Like, he's like making all these excuses for why he's late. And then he's like, oh, my pet duck died, and he like is back in the kitchen, and he sees all these ducks hanging from a rack, you know, and he's like, you killed my duck. And like, you're right, Steve, then the emotions that he's pretending to have like wash over these other, like the chef is like arguing with the restaurant manager, like, oh, did you murder his pet? Oh my, and they're like feeling bad for him, and like you just want to blow your brains out watching this.
Yeah.
I would like to see like the Safdie brothers version of this movie, where like Eric Bogosian is breaking his hand because he tried to steal like a pot of spaghetti from him somewhere.
Well, listen, I think you're totally onto something there, buddy, because if that were the case, the Safdies would at least have the common decency to shoot this fucker in the head at the end.
Yeah, you got to
And
get
even,
there though.
Even unrelated, like Leguizamo and the Safdies would be an interesting collab.
Absolutely.
That actually would be fucking great. Absolutely.
this is how I win. I'm gonna win now. I'm gonna be winning.
Blammo.
Yeah, man.
And again, like this whole gag takes it all the way up to like he tricks them into like cooking him some of the duck, and he's like eating it and winds up keeping his job because the guy's like, hey, there's no time for eating now. You have deliveries to make. And it's like, holy moly.
And he winds up at Jeffrey Jones's place, and this is when the guy's like, "Oh, I meant that big." Jeffrey Jones like, "I meant that big hunk of a man, not this little shrimp." The guy's like, "Well, I don't know. He's like really annoying, and he's into the Scottish mafia. You could use that against him or something."
Sure. And so the whole setup here is Jeffrey Jones is saying to John Leguizamo, like, oh, I'll give you this like scholarship worth $50,000. You just have to sign this contract. The funniest thing is like, Jeffrey Jones, your whole, motivation here is you want to kidnap this guy, bring him to an island, and then hunt him for sport. Why with the contract signing?
It makes no sense. It's just for us to get a parlor scene just to pad this runtime out.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, the only laugh I got was when the Scottish mafia he calls them at the Chinese restaurant or something, and the guy who's playing the head Scottish guy is like, hey, if I don't have $50,000 tomorrow, I'm going to kill your family. And I was like, that's an ending to this movie I could get behind. Like, oh no, all my pesting caused my whole family to get fucking murdered. Like, because you know what, dude? Fuck around, get hurt.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
And his family deserves to die. He deserves to die. But it's like if the Scottish mafia was at all menacing, like even a little, maybe there would be. You would sense the feet under the fire that like, okay, this is a serious thing.
Right. But like, because he is basically just live action Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
That like there's going to be no consequences for it. I think the other thing, just speaking of live action Bugs Bunny and, the root of that Bugs Bunny character, I firmly believe that Leguizamo thought he was doing like a Groucho Marx-level performance in this movie. Because that's like, so much of this movie feels like really bad Marx Brothers, right? Because that was like the genius of the Marx Brothers was they were just like a tornado of chaos, right? But it was like witty, funny.
There was breaks, there was timing, like that. There was this is just a fountain. It's just constantly going.
I mean, Groucho Marx almost always talks in jokes, and they are good. That's
the double talk, triple talk, you know what I mean? All of the entendres, everything like that. And this is just like Groucho Marx for idiots.
But I mean, like, also, I think that the Marx Brothers always respected their straight men a little better than, like it just like the steamrolling of everything doesn't allow for the straight man to react, the straight man to be outraged or offended.
Have straight men,
Exactly.
Zeppo and I forget the actress's name, but she was in a lot of their films. We need that here. We need someone to take this serious.
Dude, you're totally right. This movie needed a Margaret Dumond.
Yes.
You're totally right. And the funny thing is, like, because Jeffrey Jones is doing this dumbass cartoon, he needs to be more of the straight man, but like it's just wacky Jeffrey Jones' terrible accent.
Yeah, and I don't think he's like even Jeffrey Jones, he doesn't feel like he's here much.
No,
it feels like he's just going through the motions a bit, I have to say.
Which sucks because like again, like he's really funny in Beetlejuice, and he's such a great straight man in that. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he's just him, like just in a chair. I'm kind of laughing.
Even even in a piece of shit like Stay Tuned, he's got energy. Like he's really bringing it, and like Hunt for Red October. Like this is just he's so like he's like, oh yes, kill him. Yes, I got. Oh God, when's coffee break, huh, guys? Woo!
Yeah, he's really worried because he's got like a sports car in the shop or something, and he's thinking about that. I mean, dude, all of Ferris Bueller's Day Off is just him getting a huge dump taken on him, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's not even just like this is just latter day Jeffrey Jones. I mean, he's not in it a ton, but he's in Sleepy Hollow? Is that right?
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, and he's fine.
He's good in it.
Yeah,
he's good up until, and I think this is probably of the same ilk. A movie called Who's Your Caddy? Did anyone ever see that?
Who's Your Caddy was a post Troubles motion.
It was the last one for a while.
It was him with Big Boy. Not good.
Yep,
I did not see it.
He was in. I didn't watch it, but I saw that he was credited as being a part of that Deadwood movie in some way that came out like 2 years ago or something.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't see it.
He's credited on it. I don't know if it was like a flashback or whatever.
He's also in a movie called 10.0 Earthquake from 2014.
Yeah, that checks out.
Well, look, we got a money launder. Let's go. Make a movie with Jeffrey Jones and launder the money.
Yeah, that's a double tip to the FBI, dude. So Jeffrey Jones is like, all right, we've selected you to do this scholarship. Yes, the horrendous parlor scene of him like trying to get him to sign this contract. He finally does, because he brings up the, $50K. And he says that, to celebrate this contract signing, we're gonna go for a hunt on this island that I own, is his whole thing. And then all of a sudden, and this was what I realized, I was like, ooh, it's a hunting humans for sport movie. That could be interesting.
Sure.
Maybe.
But
You
my
need,
dream,
like,
my
maybe
dream was almost instantly squashed.
Maybe the way to make this funny or good is to have a bunch of people he's hunting at once. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And then, especially if you want to do like bad race comedy, get like, I'm hunting a white guy, a black guy, a Spanish guy, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and then
Well, why
go
not
through
just
those
bring-
jokes.
You're
You're totally right. Bring the buddies, right?
You see white guys get hunted like this, and black guys get hunted like this.
It was the 90s, dude. That was, that was peak stand-up comedy, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think this movie can't really decide if it's for 8-year-olds or 15-year-olds a lot of the time. Because most of the humor is 8-year-old stuff, but all of the stuff that's actually being engaged with, only a 15-year-old or older would understand how terrible it is or funny, I guess.
That is the genius of it, Chris, because the 8-year-old will grow up with the movie and come to even love it even further.
And the 15-year-old will also pick up the 8-year-old comedy that's getting put down and possibly also appreciate
That's
that.
probably why I didn't see it. I was 14 when it came out, so it was just sort of like,
Fuck, dude, you were right in the middle. You dodged it.
Aging out.
A lot of this humor is also just like bullshit, like we're hunting deer goose. Isn't deer goose a funny word? Let's use it 27 times.
So that whole exchange was like what, like the Jeffrey Jones says, "Oh, we're gonna hunt deer," but his dumb friend says goose and kind of steps on his line. So they're like, "Oh, deer goose," and that's almost kind of like maybe a Marx Brotherian scene if they actually had performers that could pull it off.
Right. And instead because they don't. It's like, Jeffrey Jones just has to say, oh, yeah, a deer goose. It's native only to my island. Yeah, that'll do. So Leguizamo, gets to this like mansion on the island and he's locked in a room. And we meet this guy who we're told is Jeffrey Jones's son. And the kid is putting on a really bad German accent. And he's like, yeah, my name is Himmel. And immediately the John Leguizamo Heil Himmel Nazi salute gag.
it had to go somewhere. You know what I mean? You take that one off the board. You got to do it before the movie ends.
I mean, this is right after he was
yeah.
looking at the family library, which includes, the rise and fall of the Third Reich, Mein Kampf, etc. Really, really doubling down on this whole idea of Nazis living off the coast of Miami.
I mean, I was stunned how hard this movie leans into all the Nazi stuff. Like, talk about one terrible spice too many in your rancid movie gumbo.
And they really push it. This whole scene is just kind of Nazi jokes, like the globe with the United States of Germany on it.
Yes.
Guys, we're being rude here. We're forgetting about all the gay jokes.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well, they're one and the same with this kid because he's like, immediately the movie lets you know he's gay. Ha 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 ha. And what do they do with him immediately is he's like a sexual predator to Leguizamo. It's like putting Leguizamo in a room with like a caged bear or something.
Right.
Because this kid's like attacking him immediately.
You can't have like the moral high ground against these Nazis when you've been doing race jokes for the first hour of the movie. Not hour because it's a short movie, but at least like 30, 40 minutes of just race jokes, and then suddenly the Nazis are here? Are you signing up?
It's stunning. I mean, because you get the Nazi jokes, and then like a while after, you have like that tidal wave of Nazi-related comedy. They're in a synagogue for a fashion, and you're just like, man, you are covering all the bases intentionally, and that doesn't make it better, it doesn't make it fucking funny.
And when we get to the synagogue eventually, of course, he does a Jewish impression, but there's a Scottish guy from the mafia who is also Jewish, and that's a joke.
Yep, it's like there's not a single fucking Jew in Scotland, so how hilarious is this? Like, it continues to be dumb. So Jeffrey Jones like comes into this office, and this is where we see, Steve already mentioned all the heads of, different races of people, I guess is the idea.
This is where I was like, okay, John Leguizamo, maybe a step too far here. Maybe we've all I actually was like, maybe I should shut this off.
I mean, you would have been okay, but you would have missed his reaction to seeing all of these mounted heads on the wall. And it's like, he's hunted all sorts of other animals, so his whole thing is like, yeah, I've hunted all the animals in the world, so I had to move to human beings. And John Leguizamo's response is to just piss his pants, and you just see it, and he's like, "Ah, boy, I pissed my pants. Isn't that hilarious? I'm dancing in my piss for the second time in this movie."
He pisses all over this rug too. I guess it's a fur rug of some animal that Jeffrey Jones had killed when he was like 9 or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he's like, oh, yeah, my rug. Don't piss on my rug. It ties the room together.
There's some story essentially that like the only thing that makes sense is like Jeffrey Jones, when young, was like Gerard Butler in 300, and he was sent out into the wood to be a fucking wolf and bring it back for his fucking Nazi father.
Well, that's the other thing too. The son also in a 300 way was like Jeffrey Jones to redo the way he was made. He stuck his son in a room with a snake, and that also, I guess, made the kid gay, is the question.
Yeah, I guess now he's like obsessed with phallic imagery or whatever. But this is also like even a classic Hollywood thing of like the Nazi villain is coded gay, so I'm glad we're putting everything in this movie.
Also, beyond that even, he wants to fuck these snakes. He absolutely is saying shit like, I want to fuck. He's like getting erotic with the snakes.
Well, and that's fucking terrible too, right? Because it's like it's the only gay character in the movie, and what does this kid do? Well, apparently he's into bestiality also. Well, you know what I mean? It's just like it's so fucking dumb.
They put a button on it several times. Like even when he's going through the books, he's like Mein Kampf, and there's another Nazi book, and then he's like it's like several sex books.
Yes,
and
quick and easy sex or something like that.
Yeah, and stuff like I'm like, okay, good, that's good, that's good. Thank you.
I do. He is also dressed in we can only describe as ceremonial garb at this point.
I don't know what we're doing here. It's
because like this is what your ancestors would dress as. Don't you feel like a great hunter? Also, you're half naked. Nothing weird there, man.
But also, your ancestors didn't dress in Hugo Boss.
Exactly.
What the fuck is this shit with all your pockets?
Should we just like the Goths?
Yeah, you should just fucking have a fur on and you're nude with a spear.
I don't want to see Jeffrey Jones nude with a spear.
I'm the new Tarzan.
Why is it a big deal? Leonard Nimoy gets to take pictures of fat women and I can't take my pictures.
Oh, Jeffrey. So yeah, he's dressed up.
No, I will not trade photos with you.
Hey, sorry, man. And by the way, stop following me to these fucking photo exhibitions.
Wait, are you calling me from your house? Prank caller. Hang up.
I've called you 9 times.
Leonard, I've got these photos priced to move.
Where are those prego files, Leonard?
Sorry, I gotta go. Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago, is on the other line.
Oh man, now this is what I want. I want to see Jeffrey Jones hunting Leonard Nimoy and seeing him at an arcade, and it turns out to be a different old man.
Different old man with a bowl cut.
Oh man. So before the hunt can get underway, we got to offend a couple more folks here because Leguizamo's like, "Oh, you don't want to hunt me. I've got problems," and just launches into this horrendous I'm going to say the affliction and then act it out. And it's like, I've got a speech impediment. I've got dyslexia. I've got Tourette's. And he is just going for the gold with these impressions.
He does a really bad epilepsy fit a little bit before. And it's
that's that is in the laundry list of this shit. You're right. He's like, yeah, you can't hunt me. I've got epilepsy. Ah! And he just starts like gyrating on the ground. And again, I wish I was dead.
And he gets like a little, what do you call this? They're a Derringer-esque gun.
Oh, right.
I was kind of laughing when John Leguizamo took a shit. I'm not made of stone. I was like, all right, you know what? It's a fucking candle in the wilderness at that point. It's something that I've laughed at before, that I've seen. I'm like, okay, that's sort of something.
It's true, Steve, because you can't even enjoy the credits because all the they repeat the scenes over you don't even have the sweet silence of the credits to soothe you after this. You have to keep listening to it.
What I love about this shit thing is like, it's like he's experiencing a shit for the first time in his life. He's like, my stomach feels funky. By the way, Pauly Shore could have also nailed this role. Speaking of funky,
Pauly Shore. I mean, to be one of the the extra people being hunted, right?
Absolutely. Like just like have it like it's street kids, it's delinquency, and he takes him to this island as like a retreat. You got to frame it in some way.
I represent the epitome of the white race, buddy.
Yes, he's with Jeffrey Jones.
Around here, like right before he takes the shit is the first very like Jim Carrey. It's like a combo of like Ace Ventura and The Mask, because he encounters like a huge snake and he starts fighting it, and then like it eventually gets to a point where he's like, you know, he's got his foot over part of it and he's holding it up and he's playing it like an upright bass.
Yeah, this fucking
Holy
toy
fuck.
that is acting in this movie.
And what reminded me, there's 2 times at least where this happens in this movie, and it's very much The Mask, is they speed up the frame rate. So when he's fucking around with this snake, like they make it fast and like so it's goofier.
Right.
And then the same thing happens at the end when like the whole family's like being held hostage on the dock or whatever.
But he's dancing.
Yes, when he's doing the dancing.
Yeah.
And it's all sped up.
They rewind it too multiple times.
It's a weird, like, I mean, that's almost something like, oh, we're playing with the reality of anything.
I think they're trying to get to that 85-minute mark.
Yeah. Every trick in the bag.
So are we.
Yes, so are we for sure. And you know, folks at home, we apologize. We've got other great content on Patreon this month.
No, you know what? Let's just, thank Sarah, everybody. Find Sarah. I think I have her address here somewhere.
And give her a present. Thank you for calling in for listener requests.
It's not also Sarah's fault. There's other folks that called this in.
That's true. People wanted us to do
balls
this.
were weighted.
They wanted us to do this for a long time. They wanted us to do this for a very long. It might have been better in the early days when we were completely fall down drunk recording this show.
I should, I've been trying not to drink during the week. I really should have started drinking at like 3:00 this afternoon.
Yeah, no, I pre-gamed for this. It was like a fucking football game here.
I feel so stupid talking
Andrew's
about this movie
Andrew doesn't drink during the week anymore. I guess we've met the next pope. Here he comes. I see some smoke over the Vatican.
Steve, it's called clothes not fitting so well anymore. So let's get back to what the people wanted us to talk about. So he wipes his ass with a sock.
Yay!
But then Jeffrey Jones smells it, and he can tell where he's going from the shit.
Why? Why is he a bloodhound with shit?
Did we mention the rocket goes off?
Yeah, because the gay son has this phallic rocket launcher sticking out of his back.
It's a literal red rocket.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Jones is like, oh, there he is. And then the rocket goes off and explodes like right in front of Leguizamo, and they think he's dead. So the kid's like, yeah, okay, he's dead. Let's go home and watch Hogan's Heroes. Do you get it yet?
Why would they like Hogan's Heroes? They wouldn't like Hogan's Heroes. It portrays the German military perhaps a little foolishly.
Just a little bit, man. Yeah, it's almost as if the person that wrote this in 3 days never saw a single episode of that.
What's Nazi? Hogan's Heroes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, babe.
Like, if it was a smarter movie, he'd be like, yeah, okay, he's dead. Let's go home and put on the VHS tape of Triumph of the Will.
Yes.
Sure, that's something.
Definitely. Or Olympia. This would be an Olympia
Yeah.
house.
Oh,
Yes, big time.
Schindler's List. Oh, Ray Fiennes is just so good in this. Just such a beautiful performance. I believe Oscar nominated.
Let me watch the best parts on YouTube.
Yeah, he's got the clip reel. It's just the Ray Fiennes cut.
Dude, that has to
this
exist.
kid-
I'm not Googling it, but I know that exists somewhere.
I bet
Oh
it
man,
does,
the best
dude.
scenes of Ray Fiennes. No reason.
Here you go, 8chan. So they think he's dead. He goes home. They both go home, right? And like, man, if this movie was like, oh, yep, John Leguizamo is dead. Like, they pull a fucking Janet Leigh, and you're like stuck with Jeffrey Jones and like these two other dudes, and then like maybe the buddies come and find him.
It would be
That
interesting.
it's infinitely better because Leguizamo's character is not in this movie anymore. That's not the case.
I would wish another one of Jeffrey Jones' nemesis showed up. Howard the Duck. Get Howard back.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
But wait,
Yeah, Steve, when you said one of his nemesis, I thought you were going to say the American FBI.
is Jeffrey Jones the villain? Isn't he of an alien in him that's the real villain? Isn't he friends
Yes.
with Howard?
Yeah, but then he plays the villain. Effect. There was no actual alien. in that
Correct
one, dude.
yourself, Steven!
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you wonder why that happens, but then you remember Chris's Howard the Duck tattoo, and it's
Yes.
totally justifies him freaking out right now.
I showed it to you. I sent you many pics of it.
I know you did, buddy.
I can't believe it was on your genitalia.
Look, I take dares seriously.
Just
Others don't. I do.
I can't be just writing up on the old tackle box there.
Well, look, they said that the bill had to kind of be my dick, so I had to, aim it that way.
No, it's a good shape for it.
Thank you.
Well, by all means, let's keep talking about Chris's grotesque penis.
Grotesque.
Well, there's a fucking Howard the Duck tattoo on it. How else would you qualify that penis?
Decorated.
Adorned.
Not a military veteran.
See, my dick tattoo is like a tasteful, like a Mark Rothko, where it's like sort of partially one color and then another.
Pink and green over orange canvas,
Exactly.
Untitled 16. Yeah.
It's definitely untitled.
I call this the penis cathedral.
Oh, man. I would take a tour through the Penis Cathedral, see what that's all about. Oh, my Lord. So the pest comes, of course he's not dead because there is no God. And he comes back, he scares the kid a little bit. And the only detail here that's important is the kid is like, here's a bottle of animal pheromone that only makes male animals super horny. My dad used it on these animals and he films it. And then it's like the kid is just watching a videotape of lions fucking. And again, that bestiality thing comes out because he's getting horned up watching these lions bone.
Yeah.
I think that's also part of the German stereotype of being into weird sex.
Yeah, the Scheisser video.
Yeah, the stuff that American culture, which is the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones is a failed venture zoo hub.
Zoo hub.
I bought a website.
How about porn zoo? I think that sounds better.
Porn zoo, I think.
It rolls off the tongue a little better.
We're gonna need multiples of these, Eric. We're gonna have to sell advertisements, so we have to have a couple of. Don't you worry.
Yes, Chris, we should definitely launch these.
No, Jeffrey, I will not go in on you with the Zoo Hub. Also, how do you keep getting my number?
I've had to move twice. So the Pest and Himmel, which is the kid, are like, you know what? We both hate Jeffrey Jones. Let's get out of here. And they escape on a boat. And they both get seasick and puke all over each other for a while. That's a scene.
And then bird shits in Himmel's eye.
And then he escapes and basically swims to shore.
And I was like, "Oh, the movie's over? Oh
Yes,
shit!"
I-
And then I got fucking 35 minutes left of this piece of shit.
Stunning, absolutely stunning
you
that
would-
you have a story like this that they leave one place and go to an island and then literally come back to the first place for another third of the film.
And it's also like there's so many more like gags and disguises and like stuff that belongs in the beginning of the movie that happens towards the end. Like his dinner with Joe Morton shouldn't be here. The weird dance club sequence with the lame white guys also should be, again, that's like you just have to put that scene earlier.
There's like a remnants of like this almost feels like a canon movie that escaped the grid. Like
how so?
Like because like that scene, specifically that scene, the white guy scene versus with the music, the I Love Rock and Roll versus Spank That. The number one hit, rocking the charts, Spank That.
The first dude there, the guy who, like, they first start talking, the guy who's like driving the car, I believe I read correctly, is the writer of this film.
Yeah, and like it's very like big. The colors are big for the first time. Like it's really weird that this was allowed. Still,
I will say that scene's almost kind of the best scene in terms of like, I don't know, you're like making fun of like lame white culture and like the I Love Rock and Roll is kind of getting it there. I'm like, I'm almost near smirking.
It's kind of funny, but it just like so many gags in this movie has no it doesn't like push the story in any direction. The fact that they like defeat these guys, the only thing that comes from it is they like steal their tickets to get into this private party that the club is having, right? But even that doesn't make sense, because then once they're inside, there's all these other people that get in that definitely wouldn't get in, like the Scottish Mafia guys, Jeffrey Jones and his fucking weird egg clone, like they all get in, and I'm like, then why did we have to have the dance off with the guys out front if in fact it is just easy to sneak into this club without an invitation? Because their whole motivation is like, we defeated them to get the access to the club. And why are they even there?
To hide. They're just trying to hide. Like it's like, oh my god, let's hide. So first they try to hide at Joe Morton's house. We talked about that scene ad nauseum. It goes on a long time, but Jeffrey Jones shows up with a dart gun and knocks out that entire family.
Which is pretty. This is actually kind of the best scene in the movie. And then when his friend tries to like break into the house to help him out, he gets instantly tranked.
Yes.
This is after his penis catches on fire. We can't forget that.
There's a tracking device in his penis, and like it starts to overheat, I suppose.
Yes, because he's eating. It's a whole thing, but like the mother of the girlfriend is like, "Oh, we've made Cuban food for dinner," and he goes into a whole thing about like, why Cuban food? He calls her a stupid bitch. Like this whole thing, and then like so they're
it's a
eating
funny movie.
They're eating the meal, and then like the guy, the little egg guy, is like, "Oh yeah, oh something's happening. It looks like the tracking device is overheating." And it goes back to Leguizamo, who's been eating this Cuban food, and he's like sweating profusely. And then, like, smoke just starts emanating from his crotch, and he's screaming. He gets naked in front of these people.
Joe Morton has the best comedy lines of this scene. Like, it's like, oh, he's on drugs. And then when, like Leguizamo's on the floor dragging his balls and dick on the ground.
Like a dog.
Like a dog with an itchy asshole.
He says, that boy has syphilis.
Syphilis of the ass.
So yeah, Jeffrey Jones assassinates his entire family. It's kind of funny, I guess. He also winds up tranking his own son too.
Yes.
I think the great part of this whole scene though is Jeffrey Jones hits the Pest in the face with the butt of a rifle, and it's a real moment of like the Pest getting hurt, and I was like, "Ooh, do it again! Oh god! Oh, hit him again! Ooh, do it! Ooh, do it!" But instead, he jumps out a window, and you get a look at this stunt double, this John Leguizamo stunt double.
Was it the guy who does the stuff for Macaulay Culkin? Or
I was gonna say, dude, he looks exactly like Charles Bronson, which is kind of funny.
I think before he jumps out, he says, "You can't hit me. You're." Oh no, this is like right after he shoots everyone in the family. John Leguizamo says, "You can't hit me because you're just a giant, big sucker butt."
Ooh, nailed him, Pest.
Sucker butt.
How does anybody come back from that?
you don't?
I know,
you
right?
can't.
Yeah, you just have to give up after that, right?
Devastating. They were.
I don't know if you can come back from being in the film The Pest. I guess anything is possible.
Tim, you've got to put me in Sleepy Hollow. I did this movie, The Pest.
Okay, man, but stop asking me to come over and trade photos.
It would be funny if John Leguizamo actually saw the movie and he was the one who was pressuring TriStar to pull it from theaters.
Dude, I bet.
He's like, my reputation cannot survive this. Please get rid of it.
Fuck, it's gonna kill me. Oh, it's gonna kill me. There's a weird thing here which also makes absolutely no sense if you think about it, right? So big picture, Jeffrey Jones and this egg clone and his son are all in Miami trying to hunt him down, right? Because again, he still wants to trank him, take him back to the island, murder him, and cut his head off, right? That is still the goal of Jeffrey Jones. Yet for whatever reason, Jeffrey Jones' little egg assistant Jeffrey Jones calls up Angus, the Scottish mafia guy, from the car phone, and he's like, hey, by the way, the Pest is going to run off with all your money. Better go get him. And I'm like, well, why would you do that? If they kill him because of the money and you're ratting him out, it defeats the purpose of you coming here to take him back to the island to murder him and get the head.
That's true.
But if he gets loose, his Nazi reputation is spoiled. What is he going to do after that?
And also, Hitler killed so many people making phone calls, so maybe it counts for Jeffrey Jones.
I think he put it on. He put a line through the 4 with that one.
There is also a weird thing in like a lot of Jeffrey Jones lines where he's like, once I get the Pest and get his head on my wall, I'm going back to the Rhineland. Like, there's this whole thing where he's going to like escape America and flee back to Germany. And I'm like, that's again a bad joke because they don't want you. Like, come on.
Also,
like that whole thing of like the Nazi's going to return back to his home base, Germany. Isn't that funny?
I mean, it's not funny, and it wouldn't even be funny if they said this, but like Brazil or something would be something. Because if you flee to Germany, you're just going to run into a U.S. military base.
That's true. Just get you all over again.
Yeah, get back there for a Kraftwerk reunion concert. Like, what are you doing back in Germany?
Chris Cabin, I went to a Kraftwerk reunion concert in New York City, and it was awesome.
I bet.
Oh, man, that's pretty cool.
Sadly,
fucking concerts, man.
Have never done it, sadly.
They had 3D glasses and everything.
Ooh.
I'm jealous.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Fuck, that sounds really cool. So again, here we got to go back to my notes, guys. I got to read you another thing for verbatim here. Holy moly, this synagogue scene.
Yes.
Because the joke is like, where will they never look? These Nazis.
Where will these? Yep.
And the idea is they go to a synagogue, and like the idea is, John Leguizamo, if you're trying to hide, don't go on the dais. Go in the back.
It is the dumbest move you could make, Pest. Also, not every Jewish person is doing the fucking Hasidim curly hair and the outfit, man. Like, you don't have to be a part of the orthodoxy here. You know what I mean? Like, you could just sit in a pew and shut your fucking mouth.
But that's the thing. To even like try to bring logic to it is insane, because the whole point is that every time he has to try to trick somebody. The whole point of every scene is that he has to get it over on somebody, even though he's the stupidest, most annoying person on the earth.
I mean, and you're totally right, Chris. And, I am the fool for looking in, for all these plot holes in a film like The Pest. But, like, really, man, it's the only thing keeping my fucking brain together thinking about this movie.
Fair.
Like, he starts this scene, like him and Tubby. What, Chubby is his name?
Yes, Chubby is Aries Spears.
One of the two nicknames here. They come out, like Steve said, on the day. It's packed house, by the way. There's a mitzvah going on. And he announces himself to the room by screaming, "Hello, Jews."
And
Thank you, Bugs.
I would just love if there was like the 1 in 9 people that saw this in theater was just losing his mind.
Oh, there had to be like at least one of those dudes was knee slapping, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just because just imagine seeing The Pest in theaters. Right into the We Hate Movies mailbag if you saw The Pest in theaters.
Yeah, I want to know what your mental state was like at that point. What was going on in your life? What troubles were happening?
What did your parents think?
Even my criminal delinquent father didn't fucking bother to pilfer this movie from fucking Columbia House.
Because he had taste.
Didn't even bother.
He's like, I will I will go to jail for Rambo 2 on VHS. I will go to jail for The Goonies on VHS. I will not do time for The Pest. Absolutely not.
Even that RoboCop 3. I know, it's not the same. It's not the same with them there, but yes, I will even go to jail for that.
I would have killed to watch RoboCop 3 today.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh, that's something. Maybe we should do that as an episode.
Yeah, we were supposed to twice in fucking Detroit.
We still
were gonna
might,
do the
ladies
third
and
one. That's
gentlemen. I mean,
I forgot that shit was supposed to exist.
you know what? Before the calendar strikes, the clock strikes midnight on this year, maybe we will have gone to Detroit to do that show, but we'll see.
Maybe not. You're just gonna, follow us on Twitter at WHM Podcast for tour updates, if ever.
That's the best way to stay up to the minute with what we're doing, whether I'm high taking pictures of my TV or we're announcing new tour dates. That's where to find us, man, on Twitter.
You got to check out the TV pics. We're kind of all getting into it these days. It's excellent.
Love a good TV pic sesh, man. Absolutely. How else will people know what I'm
The
watching?
TV's the only person I've ever talked to this entire year, face to face.
Jeffrey, I do not want pics of your TV either. What on earth?
But Lenny, look what I was watching.
It's kind of funny, right? Because I was in Stay Tuned. You get it, Leonard?
I am not familiar with the film, no.
We're not so different, you and I, Lenny.
We're both perverts of different kinds.
You are a legend for being part of the show Star Trek. I was once kicked out of a Star Trek audition.
You are a pervert. I am a criminal pervert.
Let me be clear here. I just appreciate people of different sizes. You appreciate children, and as I can understand it, animals now too.
As I can understand it. I'm looking really quickly to see if he maybe guessed it on any Star Trek, because it seems like a thing where he could have
been on Next Gen at least,
snuck in on TNG here.
Well, actually, because he had some heat in the '80s. He wouldn't have been on Next Gen. Amadeus,
right? That's
actually,
you know what he did though is in Stay Tuned. He does a Star Trek riff.
That's right.
Oof, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Christ almighty.
He had his heat in the 80s, and then he had a lot of heat in the late 90s.
Not the good kind.
It was that house guest that did it for me.
Dude, look at his 1999 was pretty big. Ravenous, Sleepy Hollow, and Stuart Little.
Oh,
Ravenous is so good.
Yeah. Oh, you know what he's definitely in? A total Stay Tuned Heartbreakers from 2001. With Hackman, Sigourney Weaver, and Jennifer Love Hewitt there. Saw that in the theaters.
Never saw it, actually.
It sucks.
My mother has seen that movie more than any other movie that's ever existed.
Wow.
What, Heartbreakers?
Yes,
Get out of town.
She loves that movie. I don't know why, but I've watched that movie with her at least 4 times.
I'm curious who's if your mom has seen Heartbreakers more than my mom has seen Twister, because that is something.
I don't know. She really thinks Gene Hackman is hilarious coughing.
And I'm wondering if she saw more than my mom saw Cruising.
Let's talk about what our moms are into these days.
My mom, talking about like this time period this movie came out, and I think she still kind of does, but my mom, big Harrison Ford fan.
Oh.
A lot of VHS tapes of Harrison Ford in the house, including Random Hearts.
Nice.
Yeah, we had 6 days, 7 nights on DVD.
I just watched Frantic recently. Pretty good.
Frantic fucking rules,
Yeah.
man. Good choice for you. Not good choice for us, The Pest.
No.
Yeah, so whatever. He offends a whole synagogue full of
people. He goes to the dance club next. We talked about the white guys, but we should talk about then it's like, oh, it's a karaoke dance club, which also wouldn't be exclusive of this fucking doing karaoke.
Yeah, I don't get what's going on here because like the club, it's like Club Paris or something like that. And yeah, then all of a sudden there's just this dumbass karaoke lounge inside it. Also, whatever set this is, it's clearly not a club. This is like someone's nice house somewhere. Like, didn't you guys get a very like domestic vibe from this club? Until you get to the karaoke room, it's a different thing. But like when they're sneaking around, he's like sneaking on the staircase and he sees the 2 Scottish guys and everything. I was like, this just looks like someone's big drug dealer.
I was not paying attention at that time.
Excellent.
No, yeah,
there is a great thing though. There's when they walk right into the club, there's an extra that walks by them, hilariously huge, like big, tall Johnny Suede haircut.
Oh wow, maybe it could have been Brad Pitt.
I will say with the Jim Carrey stuff, this does definitely have the Club from The Mask feel. But it's like you say, it's karaoke, and like it seems like it's like you have to get like it's a speakeasy karaoke, like it's a secret place that you have to get into.
Right. Yeah, that's a good call. I don't know what this is supposed to be.
Look, you know what? The Masters would not stand for this.
No, they're
not going to take. They're not going to take anybody that comes out of this kind of place. I'm sorry, they're just not going to look at you.
Back to the karaoke masters here, and there was a big disaster, actually. Some fraudulent participation where you are loath to report to you here, but turns out that Japanese businessman that was performing in the karaoke masters was actually John Leguizamo.
Oh yes, we have to where he's going to be banned from the Masters for all time for Asian face, which
let it be known that if there is an actual uni wasabi that would like to compete, that they are welcome to. And this apparently this person was not uni wasabi.
Dude, uni wasabi, can we just already?
That being said, I've never heard a better Jeremy.
Well, he has really spoken tonight. Despite being a fraudulent entry under the name Uni Wasabi, I think we got to give him a few points there.
He's still banned for life.
Jeffrey Jones is a line that's like, I had the pleasure of hunting Uni Wasabi, and you are no Uni Wasabi, because we're going to do a Lloyd Benson fucking joke right now.
Oh, wow, you're right.
I do love. So he does a bad karaoke thing, and
it's a bad everything.
And he's dressed like a Japanese guy. He's got silly glasses, and my favorite part is he throws the pheromone on to Jeffrey Jones, and all these dudes start to hump him, and it's just like, if this movie ends with Jeffrey Jones getting fucked to death in a dance club, 2 stars? Two stars, yeah.
Oh, 1.5, man. It's still the Pest. Yeah, this is really
like
dumb.
John Leguizamo in a boat with a big cigar. So, yeah, he just got fucked to death. All right, anyways.
Well, that's the movie. Good night, everybody. See you for the Pest 2.
There was nothing left.
He was fucked to dust.
Okay, 3 stars. If I get that scene specifically, then I get 3 stars.
All right, yeah, if it has that little button on the end of it, sure. Oh my God. So like while the pheromones joke is playing for no one, this dude Angus nabs the Pest, and they throw him into it's all 3 of the guys now. He throws them all into the car. And he's like, all right, look, I'll have your money tomorrow. And to put up collateral, here's Freddy Rodriguez. He's not in this movie anyway. Sure. Mm-hmm. And he like sacrifices his friend to the mafia. That's kind of shitty.
Look, you're going to be in Can't Hardly Wait soon anyway. Don't worry about it.
Wasn't that the same year as this? I think these were both 97.
Really? I thought that was 98, but I might be wrong.
Ooh, I think you might be right, actually. Never mind. But yeah, so it's right around the corner. And the funny thing is, when you think about what Freddy Rodriguez is doing in that movie, I think it's kind of a little bit of a Pest impression.
Yeah, it's just like very similar. Like this is obviously his thing. It's like high energy, which he changed later. Like I'm crazy, wacky, whoop-a-doo kind of a dude.
You did 6 Feet Under, and you can't do that in 6 Feet Under.
Well, you could, but it wouldn't work. That's a show I have absolutely no desire to rewatch ever in my life.
Yeah, you don't really need to.
I bet it wouldn't hold up either. It would feel like very late 90s, early aughts, like prestige television, but bad.
I have found that there is no good in going back to look at what Alan Ball has done. American Beauty, it didn't turn out great. Going back to that, it didn't turn out great going back to 6 Feet Under when I tried. And isn't he True Blood as well?
True Blood was him.
I'm not going back to that period, so fuck you.
I guarantee you it's not worth it. Although, aren't they like rebooting it or something I read?
Maybe.
Who's going to say Sookie now?
Sookie.
Sookie. That's all I know about the show.
Sookie.
Sookie.
I checked out of that show. I watched it for a while, actually, but I checked out when they were like, oh, Anna Paquin, you're like a magical fairy person. And I was like, good night.
This movie sort of ends like The Usual Suspects on a boat. Like it just
does?
like I don't know. Because like his his family gets kidnapped by Jeffrey Jones after he's not fucked to death, he's just fucked to completion. And he kidnaps his whole family. He's like, I'm gonna kill your whole family. Again, I'm kind of laughing. You got to come here and save them or offer your own life.
Right.
Him and Aries Spears wear camouflage, which is like black camouflage, which was the style at the time, by the way. I think you're wondering.
It's a weird cartoon thing too, because it's like, where did they get those clothes?
Yep.
When they get on the boat and he and Aries Spears like sneak into one area, there's like a bunch of weapons everywhere, and they're like looking at all these cool, weapons, and he's like, now it's our time to shine, chubs, or whatever. And then there's a abysmal don't ask, don't tell joke right here, where like Chubby's like, hey, don't ask, don't tell. Like I think about them using the weapons, and then the Pest is like, wait, what did you say? And he's like, never mind. And he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm like, maybe this movie could have been 84 minutes.
Maybe this could have been a short, an HBO special short.
Yeah, exactly. 20 minutes and I'm out. So yeah, it's a boat. They're inside a boat, Steve, but it also, I don't know if we're filming on the inside of a boat, because it definitely also looks like your standard 1990s Terminator factory.
Yes, for sure. And when does he get a machine? So he gets a machine gun and he's like, I've got you now, kind of a thing. Right?
There is a
defeated I've got you now.
I need teepee for my bunghole.
Oh,
so
right.
Dude.
There's like this whole prank because he's got like the walkie-talkie in different positions around the Terminator factory boat.
It's multiple times. This is the last time it happens, but there is a time earlier in the film we're definitely doing Beavis and Butthead impressions.
Outside the club, they do the Beavis and Butthead laughs.
Yes, that's what it is. And then, this is him just doing Beavis doing a cornholio joke.
Great.
You know what? Leave that to the pros, fellas.
Look, Bugs Bunny, not Beavis and Butthead. Don't get your cartoons mixed up too.
Well,
totally, dude. Pick one cartoon motif and stick to it.
And this is where we really get the Bugs Bunny, because he's walking around the ship like Elmer Fudd, and suddenly John Leguizamo's walking behind him, like toying with him.
Yes. Oh.
He puts his gun. He puts a gun down a pipe, and it comes up and shoots it in his ass.
He throws a little black circle on the wall, and a fucking train runs through it and hits him.
Arrivederci.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, he gets the drop on Jeffrey Jones right here, and then Jeffrey Jones, like the cheapest garbage thing, right? He's like, oh well, actually, Pest, you don't have the drop on me because I definitely poisoned you a while back, and you have 4 seconds to live. And this is where he does if I was poisoned, could I do this? And it starts all the like mask dancing, and like this family is sitting behind him watching him do this. Like, man, I should have just stuck to community theater. They were filming this movie in Miami. I wanted to give it a shot, be in a motion picture. And now I'm sitting on a cold dock at 2:30 in the morning watching John Leguizamo dance. God damn it.
And Leonard Nimoy won't talk to me anymore because I worked with Jeffrey Jones.
Oh, wait. I was about to star in this community theater production of Our Town in Miami, but what was that? You associated with Jeffrey Jones in a motion picture, you say. Good day.
We are the Mozart and Salieri of sleazy pictures.
Get that perverted shutterbug out of my life.
I would love to work with you, Matthew Broderick, but I have a steadfast rule with Jeffrey Johns. They cannot be trusted.
He's right.
Oh,
though.
man.
He's right. So like he doesn't get poisoned, and then like Jeffrey Jones is like, well, I'm not gonna give you the money anyway, so goodbye. And it's like, all right, that could be the end of the movie.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Dude, right here, the verbatim, let's get back to the notepad. How is this movie not over? And it's because Jeffrey Jones has to have a scene where he goes to like this bank and he's gonna empty out like the safe deposit box because he is still planning on fleeing to Germany.
Just like Inside Man.
Yes, exactly. This is what gave me the thought. And also, like, what the fuck is with that that moment there because, like, didn't you want the head? Wasn't that kind of the whole fucking point?
I think at this point, dude, he's like, you know what? Screw this.
Yeah.
It is no human headhunting is worth this trouble. I will try again in a year or something.
Okay.
Because also I think he's probably thinking to himself like, well, gee, you know, if I get the pest now and I mount his head on my wall, then I'm just reminded of the antics that this man put me through. I don't want that.
And again, his reputation in the Nazi community is just shot after this. I mean, he's been made fun of quite publicly.
Anybody catch the line reading of this bank teller that he talks to?
No.
Because he's like, you know, oh, I need to see lockbox 428 or like whatever it is. And there's just this actress who's like, of course, Mr. Schenk, the guard will let you in. It's like the delivery is like if you watched it typed out on like a tweet or something, it would be when people do like uppercase, lowercase, like just like a wacky ass, terrible line delivery that you just really should have been like, you know what? Just you pretty much got it, but just let's do it one more time, just for safety. And they didn't, and then this is the line reading this poor woman has. Like it's awful. And his lockbox is empty, and then it's because the Pest has portrayed the German ambassador and gets him arrested.
Like what is even this? Would the German ambassador to the United States be in Miami that afternoon?
And he says something like he's like pick up the phone and he's like taunting him. He's like, and you know what? There was a lot more than $50,000 in there, and now I'm rich. And I'm like, good, so I can never see you again. Please go away.
I mean, he looks like his character from Moulin Rouge.
He does, yeah, he does.
For some reason, I don't get this.
It's the mustache, dude. I think that's exactly what it is.
No, this screams German to me. It definitely does.
Yeah, sure.
He's also walking on his knees at the end of this movie, too. But yeah, he gets in, you know, Chubby's Jeep and they all drive off. Of course, his lady friend is there. Malaria, the friend, I think, is also there. Is there a babe for every dude at the end here? I couldn't really figure out who was cramming into this car.
No, I think it's just them.
Oh no, it's the three friends. So it's Pest, Freddy Rodriguez's character, Chubby, the lady friend, just the one, his girlfriend, Pest's girlfriend, because then the guy driving the car is Himmel. Himmel's like, oh, cool, because Himmel kind of has like an awakening in Miami, right? Because he's like, oh, look, like I'm here, like in Miami, I'm not under the thumb of my father. I can be gay. This is great. So the end of the movie is Himmel,
that's
dressed like
nice.
He's living his best life, dressed as like a Miami Beach bum kind of guy, and not like his Nazi costume anymore.
I think he's got a pair of Oakleys on. He's doing great.
That's good.
Yeah.
I missed that at the end of this movie. So,
did I.
It's kind of like I saw that and was like, all right, cool. That guy now gets to live out his days being a happy gay kid in Miami and not with his Nazi father anymore.
So that's the only good thing to come of this movie, like narratively from the characters.
It's really Himmel's story. He's the character that changes Eric.
Yeah. I mean, he's the one that's been literally held hostage his entire life. The Pest has been fucking farting on everyone he sees.
Speaking of farting, the movie closes just as it opened. We get back to the shower singing, and he's just farting and doing Dracula and doing the Chinese.
It's a straight repeat.
Yeah,
yes,
it's the same thing.
It's the same footage, right?
Yes.
It's just the same. They just dumped it at the end of it. God damn it!
Couldn't just give me like it's just blackness and white text. That's all I wanted after this fucking assault. Like just
it's over.
How at this point, like you've had him doing this garbage Bugs Bunny Groucho thing this whole time. How do you not really just put the final nail in the coffin and have him do it? That's all, folks.
Yeah,
why
that's
not?
it.
That would have been
like, come on.
They could have, it leans into it heavily, but if they leaned into it even more, it would make more sense.
So I'm not going to ask you if you would recommend this movie. Like, what a fucking pointless thing to say.
I will give you a little a tidbit. How I watch movies is
juicy.
I will like when something is really rancid and I can see it coming. Because I rent a lot of movies from from Amazon for the most part for this show because it's just easier. I will rent from Voodoo so this doesn't fuck up my algorithm. It's like, you know, it's kind of like it's almost like a private browsing tab, kind of. Just to let you know.
That's really great, dude. I should do that because I totally fucked up my Apple algorithm putting this movie in there.
You need little places to stash. Like, I mean, Lord knows what the good folks at Voodoo think of me, but I don't care.
Well, he's just another one of our damned souls here at Voodoo.
Well, you know, fuck Voodoo. I think they're a Walmart company.
They are.
Well, yeah.
I
so
remember when I saw Voodoo, I was like, oh, cool. Finally, I don't have to give money to fucking Amazon. And it's like, oh, it's Walmart. That sucks, too. Anyways, no thank you for me. It's a no. This is a blight. You know what? But I'm gonna call something here really quick. I wouldn't be shocked if I leave this world and John Leguizamo has an Oscar, and I could see him like being a villain or something, or doing some drama that's really good, because I think he's a very good actor and has a real presence, and this is not that, and he should have never done this movie, and it's a blight.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, because that's the thing that's like really difficult about this movie, right? Is like I've known about it for years, while also liking John Leguizamo for years, and I've sort of known that I don't want to like tarnish my like of John Leguizamo for watching this movie that I have successfully avoided right up until yesterday evening. And I think he's great. I think he's a great actor. I do think he's funny. Like, obviously he can do comedy. I do think he's a good dramatic actor. And I want to just point out, I feel like what we should do maybe is like say a nice John Leguizamo performance, right? So him as Jacob Vasquez in Waco, he's great. I think he's really great on that show, honestly.
I think
it's a good dramatic performance.
It's a small role, but him and John Wick, I think is good.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's another one.
I mean, I really do want, like, I think he's fun. I think he can deliver a line. It's this kind of humor I just don't think he was made out for. I think it was an attempt to make bigger what his one-man shows did, and it wasn't working on this or House of Buggin'. And like, I love him. Benny Blanco in Carlito's Way. He's so fucking good. He's in this movie from 92, 93 called Hanging with the Homeboys. It's a little hard to find, but it's very good if you can find it. He's been great for a while.
I just can't believe that you guys have never seen this movie, because this is not even a joke. Literally, whenever you say John Leguizamo, I think of this movie. I saw this movie as a kid. This informed everything I know about John Leguizamo. So I was never like, I never sought out his movies, but when I did see him and stuff, I did see that he was good. But when I think John Leguizamo, I think the past I have since the late 90s.
That's a bummer, man. I mean, how about this, dude? Can you switch that over to like Super Mario Brothers at least?
I guess. I think it's just like this was burned into my mind as a child because it's so awful.
I mean, the poster certainly is. I mean, I have seen this poster for years, literally decades at this point, and just been like every time, like, nope. Until today. So thank you for writing in. Was it Sarah?
It's Sarah from New Jersey. Thank you.
Sarah from Jersey. Thank you for, you know what, Sarah? You helped me get a title off my bucket list here. And in this instance, I mean bucket list as in I watched the film and now I wish I kicked the bucket.
And there's great episodes, previously on our catalog here on the free feed. And the Patreon feed this month, we're going to have Goodfellas. I promise it will be a good episode.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is the first of what do we say? There's 5 Tuesdays in this month of March, so we got a lot of stuff coming down the pike. Yes, Eric mentioned our WLM episode on our Patreon about Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, and then of course your requested Nexus episodes. What did we draw there for Animation Damnation, Steve?
We drew another Transformers episode.
That's right.
Something called Carnage in C minor. So there's a musical Transformer. Also, we should say, what we didn't draw for our listener request month was our new $10 tier, The Walsh. We will have another episode of Melrose 210. But not only that, we will have the Snyder Sessions, which is going to be somehow our reaction to the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. It's going to be more than one episode, FYI.
Yes, unsure what it's going to look like, but yes, Justice League, the Snyder Sessions, a We Hate Movies special presentation coming to this Patreon tier, The Walsh. sometime later this month. Because the thing airs, what, the 18th?
Yeah, it'll be like, so you got to give us some time there, guys.
Yeah.
But it'll be in the
try
month of March for sure.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to rewatch the original Justice League. I'm going to put myself through that just to compare and contrast. So, yeah, it's going to be worth it for my torture at least.
You're a little pain pig.
I am indeed.
If you folks at home want to do something similar, of course, we do have the Justice League commentary on our Patreon that you could sync up and rewatch to that theatrical cut. So if you're like a pain pig but you like to laugh,
From column A, column B.
totally. But yes, that is The Pest from '97, directed by Paul Miller. Go back to award shows forever. I think this is the only feature film he's directed. He's still alive. He's still directing the CMAs and all that horse shit. This was the only movie. Not surprising. But Steve Zadak, as always here on We Hate Movies, the show rolls on. Next week, a brand new episode. Also requested by one of our listeners. So what will we be talking about then?
The shit keeps rolling downhill. It's Warriors of Virtue.
Woo!
Hell yeah.
This is the kangaroo fighter movie.
I never saw this, but it has to be better.
I'm kind of into it. I mean, at least it's got like a concept that I can sink my teeth into a little bit.
They just always, I mean, I haven't seen it, but they always kind of just appeared to be like the Ninja Turtles, but they were kangaroos.
Teenage Mutant Kangaroos. Teenage Mutant Kangaroos. That's it. That's all it is.
I'm totally down for that. And I think, Eric, you just reminded me too. I'm saying it for me personally, and you guys can feel however you want, but now, welcome to the top of the shelf, The Pest. This is, I believe, the worst film I've watched for this show.
I would co-sign that because at least Ultraviolet, which we had a lot of trouble with one request month ago, that at least had some visual stimuli of some kind.
It's just like it's a series of bad race jokes, and I'll co-sign as well, I think. I'll co-sign that.
Ooh, excellent. Nice. So we're all in agreement. This is the fucking worst thing ever. Excellent work, everybody. Oh, boy. Well, that is it. That's The Pest. Now we got to go prep for next week's debauchery. So until next week, where we're talking about Warriors of Virtue. I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Chris Gavin.
Take it easy.
That was a HeadGum podcast.